In recent years, tensions between Japan and China have escalated dramatically. The crisis began on November 7th, 2025, when Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi addressed a crucial question in the Diet. She was asked what could trigger Japan's policy of collective self defense. For context, Japan's constitution, established post World War II, renounces war and the use of force in international disputes. This pacifism has defined Japan for decades. However, in 2015, under Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Japan reinterpreted its constitution, allowing the self defense forces to engage in collective self defense. This permits Japan to deploy military forces abroad in defense of allies facing attack. Takaichi's statement suggested that if China were to invade or blockade Taiwan, it may constitute a survival threatening situation for Japan. This unprecedented assertion indicated a willingness for military intervention against China during a Taiwan conflict. China's reaction was swift and severe. Statements from Chinese officials reflected deep anger, while Japan's refusal to retract Takaichi's comments only heightened tensions. Incidents like Chinese drones flying near Japanese territory and threats over the Senkaku Islands have compounded this crisis. Simultaneously, Japan is ramping up its military capabilities. Reacting to increased threats from China and North Korea, Japan plans to double its defense spending to 2% of GDP by 2026, reaching an estimated $80 billion annually. This funding will radically change Japan's military posture after decades of pacifism. Japan's military expansion is not just about funding, it's about modernizing forces. They plan to acquire 400 Tomahawk missiles and 147 F 35 fighter jets, strengthening Japan's offensive capabilities significantly. These changes reflect a new policy to bolster Japan's defensive and offensive military readiness. Additionally, Japan faces historic concerns regarding its relationship with China. The legacy of Japan's wartime atrocities weighs heavily on this relationship, influencing China's perception of Japan's military buildup as a threat. China's military expansions and assertiveness, especially concerning Taiwan, are alarming to Japan. As threats from North Korea also grow, Japan realizes it cannot rely solely on the US for defense. North Korea's nuclear capabilities pose direct existential risks to Japan. This situation prompts a reevaluation of Japan's defense strategy based on recent geopolitical events. The future of Japan's response to such crises could take many forms. It might escalate into direct military interventions, logistical support for the US, or adopting a more defensive stance. Yet Japan's aims to maintain stability in the region while preparing for potential conflicts illustrates a careful balance of military readiness and historical precedent. Japan's defense transformation begins to unfold, marking a significant shift in the country's approach to warfare, alliances, and regional security dynamics. As tensions rise in East Asia, Japan's military enhancements and strategic policies are crucial to understanding the complex interplay between historical legacies and modern geopolitical landscapes. As Japan's military stands poised to confront evolving threats, the government closely monitors public sentiment regarding these changes. Takaichi, aware of the need for public support, prepares to address the nation, emphasizing that these measures are essential for Japan's security. Meanwhile, opposition leaders voice their concerns, urging a focus on diplomatic solutions rather than militarization, arguing that a return to warlike posturing could have catastrophic consequences. However, the Prime Minister remains steadfast, insisting that Japan must protect its sovereignty and allies against rising powers. The debate intensifies, revealing deep divisions within the nation about the balance between historical pacifism and the need for a robust defense strategy. As debates intensify across Japan, the nation stands at a crossroads that could shape not only its future, but the stability of East Asia itself. In her address, Takaichi reaffirms Japan's commitment to peace while arguing that growing regional threats may require stronger defense measures. As images of military exercises flash across television screens, critics in the Diet warn that Japan's shift could provoke even greater hostility from China, insisting that diplomacy, not militarization, is the path to stability. Across the country, public opinion becomes deeply divided. Media outlets amplify the debate. Social media erupts with competing hashtags, and citizens gather in cafes, homes, and community centers to discuss the future of the nation. Younger generations express fears of rising tensions, while parents worry about what kind of world their children may inherit. Protests soon erupt in several cities. Activists chant for peace outside the Diet building, while supporters of military expansion wave flags in support of national defense. Facing growing pressure, Takaichi holds an emergency press conference defending Japan's military evolution while promising the country will not abandon its core values of peace and harmony.